No, the Pinoy band, they're family.
As a graduate from Don Bosco Tech, as someone that stashed Daredevil comics under his bed, role-playing club, then dated by old school brother, Oscar was a little scary because it's brought it close to home. I'm just curious where you got your inspiration for the characters in the novel.
Thank you. Part of it is that most of the young people here are in college. Guys, when I grew up, there was never any representation of Dominican in college. If I ever saw a Dominican or a Latino ever represented in literature, in politics, in the discourse of television and movies, they were major drug dealers. And yet everybody that I came up with was a college kid. All of my boys and girls who I was still speaking to when they were 20, there was a whole group of us who went to college. And I felt that this entire experience of being a kid from a very poor background, being a kid from an immigrant background, being a kid from a background where my parents could never have helped me with my college applications. My mom couldn't have helped me to even say where I should go. And us having to do that completely by ourselves. And yet so many of us getting to college anyway. I felt that there was this entire world of what I would describe nerd kids of color. Because no matter how much we try to be hard when we're in school, like, believe me, most dudes, they get into college and they're like triple thugs. They're like, yeah, come up, son. Like, motherfucker, you're in college. If you're in college, you usually left the illest thugs at home. And I wanted to write about this group of kids. That we were all these little smart kids. We weren't hated being poor. We weren't wannabe white. We weren't like, I don't like New Jersey. We were just your average kids. And there was part of that. The other thing is, as you said it perfectly, especially if you're a boy. Boys' masculinity is a tough one. Very few guys I know have an easy time with masculinity. We pretend we have an easy time with masculinity. We become wrestlers, we're like all-star baseball players, you know, we're like playboys. But masculinity is super tough. And I don't think there's any boy who hasn't at one moment or not felt that there was a moment in his life where he could have been on the losing end of that formula. Where he could have been the dude who was getting pumped all the time. Where he could have been the dude who was being locked out. Where he could have been the dude who was considered the herb. And I think that it was important to write about that because I grew up, you know, I mean, it's tough to describe, but I grew up with a very difficult brother, a year older than me, who loved to fight. My older brother would protect me from everything. But I was always sitting there going, if my brother wasn't here, I would be getting jumped so fucking much. Because I'm a kid who likes to read and doesn't hide that he likes to be smart. Where I grew up, that was like, te van a un trompa, you know? So that's the basic outlines, yeah. Thank you. You don't need to clap, you guys. I'll run for office later.
Well, wow. I'm almost don't have my question now because you're kind of answering everything that I almost wanted to ask, but I still conjured up one somewhere in the back of my head. And first and foremost, my teachers are really fortunate here. I see a few of them that are here. Just your face kept popping up on the homepage of
I'm sorry.
State University. So I said to myself, who is this guy?
I'm sorry.
Sure enough, I said, shit, Dominican Republic. Hold on, let me do a little background check on this guy. So sure enough, Wikipedia gives me a little bit on you. That's one thing that our professors encourage us not to do. Don't Wikipedia, right, guys? But in any event, I guess I'm here. I was quite interested with just a little bit that I found about you, and very intrigued now seeing you actually speak and read a little bit of the book. And it's a funny thing because I come from that outskirt. I come from where it really ain't cool to be smart like that, you know what I mean? And if you are, kind of are in that category, you got to kind of find a place for yourself. And in that reality, I kind of tend to wear two hats. Here, I'm the intellectual, and when I go back home, I kind of got to wear the other hat. But it's cool. And with that, I guess the question that I managed to come up with was, how did you have the bravery, or what made you able to write reality the way you write it?
Well, thank you. I feel like there's two parts of the question. I'm just going to address really quickly. One of the things, you got to understand, my dad was Dominican military. Okay? I grew up in an incredibly strict household until he jet, you know, and it was also a very immigrant household. There was no idea that any of us were going to be artists. My family was like most poor Dominican families that I knew, which is not to say all Dominican families. Like the families I knew, people did not leave Santo Domingo and suffer so much to come to America so one of the kids could be an artist. That wasn't fucking happening. You know, they were like, you're going to be something serious. You know, you're going to be a doctor, engineer, and if things are real bad, a lawyer. That was like, the thing is that many of us have artistic callings, guys. Art is a fundamental human vocation. Art is that place where, think about what you do as an artist. There was nothing here before. And from that nothing, you try to summon beauty. For me, I try to summon beauty in the form of a story. For musicians, it's music. For people who do movement, it's dance. But before you did this stuff, there was nothing there. It's not a bad gig. You're not an evil person because you want to be an artist. But the way I grew up, being an artist was, I might as well have said I wanted to be a Nazi in some ways. It was like crazy talk. But it's so much more tiring to live someone else's dreams. I think that what I discovered was, as you're growing up, you're very blessed if you're living your own dream. Most people I know, whether they're adult or they're young, are usually living someone else's dream. Either their parents' dream for them, the society's dream for them, or their culture's dream for them. And there's no greater waste of a human life than to live someone else's dream. You've got to find your dream. And I'm telling you, I know many adults who are still living other people's dreams. And I guess my thing was, I came to a point where I was like, I would rather die than live someone else's dream. It gets tiring. It gets really tiring. And I guess the simple part of how you do this stuff, or the sort of honesty, is that, again, if you grew up the way I did, where the culture that I grew up in is what we would call a culture of respectability, where everything was appearances. Era con mierdería full. Come mierdería full. Come mierdería pero full. That like, as long as you had a suit on, you could be the illest fucking thief. As long as you talked real smooth and didn't curse, you could send young people to their death. You could be like, I'm going to send them to their death, kid. As long as you were like completely respectable, you could be like a rapist. And that's the culture of respectability. The culture of respectability, surface is more important than content. And I grew up in that world. There's nothing like a military family to make the obsession that what's on the outside is more important than on the inside. As long as your shit is ironed, your hair is tight, you got the formal clothes, and it's tiring, bro. It's tiring. I was just tired of living in a world where it was all surfaces. And anybody who's been to Santo Domingo, if you remove surfaces, there's not much left in Santo Domingo. You know? Like, walk out the street, any woman without her hair combed, and see what happens in Santo Domingo. Motherfuckers will run out with like a straightening iron. It's like bananas.